this is Ginger from the Blue Bottle Tree, and I am here with Katie Oskin of Cater's Acres.
Hi.
And we have been collaborating the last couple of days. So we, Katie drove all the way down here to Missouri, and we, on vacation.
On vacation.
And Katie was so kind to agree to answer some questions for me, so I can find out a little bit more about what Katie does and what Cater's Acres is all about.
Yeah.
So Katie, how much time do you spend on a typical day working on your business?
On a typical day, I start my mornings with a cup of coffee and my computer, and I talk to all the wonderful Facebook and social media world and say good morning to Ginger, of course, and answer any questions that have come in my email, take care of the business, make sure that my blog post, I generally write my blogs the day before that, but usually by most days, my computer's off by noon, and I run into my studio, and I spend from about noon till about 6 or 7 o'clock just claying, doing what I need to do, making things for tutorials, working on future projects, whatever the case may be. So about 8 hours a day. I spend about an actual 20 to 30 hours a week with clay. The rest is the computer.
That's a lot of dedication, and that's a lot of time.
It is. It's a full-time job.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
Wow. It really is. So does that mean that you have much time left over for hobbies? And if so, what do you do?
Claying kind of is my hobby in many ways. I do, if I had to say, do you have a hobby? Yes, I do. I read. I have a Kindle, and I love the portability of a Kindle because I don't have to carry a big fat book with me. But also because I've never really been the kind of a person that can read only one book at a time. Because it kind of depends on my mood. Sometimes I want to read something about adventure, and sometimes about fantasy, and sometimes it's a drama documentary type book. So I constantly read multiple books, and so the Kindle, just sitting and reading on my back porch with a glass of iced tea or iced coffee.
Oh, that sounds good.
It does sound good. It's hot here.
Yeah, it's hot in the Ozarks. We've been under a heat advisory the last few days, so it's been
much hotter than I'm used to.
And trust me, we're not too fond of it either.
Well, that's good to hear.
So tell me, how did you get started with polymer clay?
How did I get started? Well, my polymer clay journey has actually been a very long one. My polymer clay journey started probably much like everybody else's, making beads. I used to make jewelry in my college days, and I had assembled jewelry. But you know, there's only so much putting beads on a string that is satisfying. And it never fed me. It didn't feed that creative need. It's one day when I was at the craft store, in the bead section was a book on how to make polymer clay beads, the book by Carol Blackburn, entitled Polymer Clay Beads. And so I picked it up and I thought, oh, it kind of opened my eyes to this new medium. So now I could make my own beads. That was much more satisfying, but it still didn't fuel me.
Gotcha.
So I put the clay away. I just boxed it all up and I put it away for about 2 years. And it was after I got married that my husband was gone working, and I really wanted something to do with that time. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll get the jewelry supplies and things back out and have my go at this again. And it didn't feed me. I just didn't love it. Even making the beads, I didn't love it. So one day I was in the craft store and I saw Christy Friesen's book, Mixed Media and Polymer Clay Together at Last. And it was like this eye-opener for me of, boy, I can do more than make beads. Right. And when I found that book, that was the beginning of my journey as a sculptor. That's what I consider myself. I mean, I do a lot of mixed media, but I'm definitely not a bead artist. I am definitely not a jewelry person. And finding that was like this sheer bliss moment where I thought, anything that I imagine, I can now bring to life. Make them real.
Well, so tell me, where do you get the inspiration for your creatures?
I am very drawn to nature, and not in the way, you know, some people are drawn to nature in the way of like your rustic beads and organic beads. They're drawn to that organic, earthy look. Right. I'm not. I am drawn to the birds in the trees, the raccoon in the backyard, the bunnies that are hopping over each other. To me, it's the created, the animal life that inspires me. And to me, everything not only has life but has a personality. Right. So even the ducks that are in the pond, you know, they all have, in my Katie imagination, they all have voices and a personality and a character, and that's where all of mine come from.
Okay. So what advice do you have for someone learning to sculpt?
What advice do I have? Don't go out and buy every tool you think you need just because you think you need to have it or because someone told you do. Every sculptor is different. I use things today that I wish I would have had 5 years ago because I bought something else that someone said, oh, you have to have this. And then I realized, no, I don't even use this. Like, it's not part of who I am. So I think part of it, at least as a sculptor, there's a lot of tools that are so beneficial to have in your arsenal, your toolbox. And most of those I toted along with me. But don't, make do with what you have. And if you can see the tool in use in somebody's tutorial or online, and they're showing you, demonstrating how to use it, and you think, gee, that's something that I struggle with too as well, maybe that tool will be of value to you. But if they just say, this is my favorite tool and everybody needs it, and they've not shown you how to use it, it may not end up being the tool that's right for you.
All right. Well, this you sort of already answered that, but I was going to ask, what tips can you offer that can help people get good results?
For me, the one thing in my studio that I will never be without is a very good pasta machine. I hate conditioning clay, and to condition clay by hand is a pain. And when you're a sculpturist like what I do, you're conditioning much larger amounts of clay than perhaps the bead artist or the jeweler that's conditioning small amounts. So for me, I know I just have an Atlas pasta machine, but even coming here and being in your studio, yours has a motor. And how many times did I say to you, oh, Ginger.
She wants my motor.
I do. I don't know. Where has this been missing my whole life, this motor? But I think that having a good, at least for a sculptor, a good pasta machine that can condition your clay quickly, efficiently, and cut down the majority of your work for you, I think is invaluable.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, I know that you write tutorials, so tell me about, I'm going to get the name right, Parker's Clayful Tutorials Club. Tell me about that.
Parker's Clayful Tutorials Club started, it'll be 3 years old in November, and it started because I wanted to teach other people how to make my idea of life, of critters, of things that knock around in the woods and that kind of stuff, the characters in my brain. And so basically what it is, it's a subscription, and right now it's a special price, it's $9.95 a month, and what it is the first and third Mondays, you get a coupon for the tutorial in your email box, and then you go to my website and download it for free. And the tutorials range in price from $15 to $22 on their own. So by being a club member, you're basically getting each tutorial for $5 a piece. So being a club member has a huge advantage over not being a club member. But you're guaranteed 2 tutorials a month, and they're always different. Generally I work through a theme month. June was wacky month, so we did a wacky bird and we did a wacky flower, and so every month kind of follows a theme, and but it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of people that join and have fun with us, and I love seeing everybody's different designs that they make from the tutorial, and we share a lot. We have a good time, so it's a good group.
You mentioned sharing, and I think that's really important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the Polymer Clay Challenge, which is another something you've got going, and there's a lot of sharing going on involved in that.
Yes, there is. The Polymer Clay Challenge actually was inspired by Wendy Joy. She inspired that challenge after her year of canes, but were trees.
Right.
And I think that was actually 3 years ago. So I started mine after that. I had been personally, there's a lot of personal challenges that people take on.
Right.
And the year before I was kind of challenging myself to do one Parker a week for a year, which I had done. And I decided after seeing Wendy and her blog and her going through that, I thought, this is a really worthwhile endeavor for all polymer artists, that if you really want to grow in your polymer art, that you need to dedicate yourself to it.
It helps.
It does. So I started it's just a Facebook group. It's free. Anybody can join it, and you go along every week. The idea is to pick a theme, either for yourself, a way that you want to grow. This year I'm doing one face a week. And the idea is that from January, the time you start, to the end, in December, you'll see your own growth.
Right.
And if you dedicate yourself to one thing over a year, there's this vast difference in where you started to where you end. But it's a wide open thing. You don't have to do like faces or anything. You can just do one item a year. We have one person who's going through and doing their polymer clay bucket list. So they're doing one thing a week from their bucket list of techniques and things that they've never done before. So it can be whatever you want, but it's a worldwide endeavor, and it's free, and you just come on, and every week then you post for that week in the photo album what you've completed.
Wonderful.
So
you do a lot of collaboration with other artists. I see you're promoting an awful lot of other artists.
yes.
Does this, you think that it would be negatively impacting you and your business? So why do you promote so many other people? Why do you do that?
Part of it is because art has a special place in my heart. I feel art is an expression of ourselves and how we express ourselves through our art. I'm generally a very bubbly, kind of carefree person, and I think that comes through in the things that I make. So those are the things I'm drawn to. We've had this conversation about how we're all drawn to different things.
Very different.
So I think that by me sharing either artists who I admire, work that I admire, things that I think are spectacular, it helps to grow the community as a whole.
Right.
You know, I guess I'm not so much the polymer artist who's out for themselves as much as I'm out for polymer.
Right.
And by sharing other people's work, it's an expression of my love and respect for them. It's a small thing that I can do for them. I wish more other artists would kind of take the movement on for themselves and to help.
Agreed.
To help do that. I know you've
Very much so.
always are helping and showing off other people's work.
People, yeah.
And I think that that's something that we need to do as a community of polymer artists.
Very much so.
Just to spread polymer.
What is it they say, that no man is an island?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Yeah. And as it does it hurt my business? I don't think it does. I mean, I think what it does is show my love of other artists to the community and to the world as a whole.
It's very much appreciated. I know that you've been very supportive of me. You've been very supportive of many other people, and I know that we're very, very pleased about that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's my joy to do so.
Speaking of other artists, tell me, what artists do you admire and why?
Well, I can think of 4 off the top of my head that I really, really admire, for different reasons, really. I love, right now, one of my favorites, and she knows this, is Melissa Terlizzi.
Yeah.
I love you, girl. Her stuff is so real yet so whimsical at the same time.
It is.
And I can't get over it. You know, she makes a frog or a toad that looks like a toad, but yet it's got Katie style.
Yeah,
in that it's got this expression that just shows I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, it's a sad day, oh look it's raining, oh the pond is, whatever. She's very, very expressive in her art, and I just love her for that. And I think she's fantastic. But some of my other ones that I truly admire are Dawn Scheller. I have loved her work for years. Big inspiration for my own faces, and what I'm doing with those is kind of a throwback to Dawn Scheller. And she still teaches, not in my area, so hey Dawn, come to my area. Northwest Pennsylvania, come on down. But probably another one that I dearly admire is Doreen Casal.
Oh,
I love her. And she creates whimsical characters.
She does.
And so, Parker, for years, Parker's had a travel diary. If you follow my Instagram, it's hashtag Parker Travels.
Oh, wow.
And so you can follow like 5 years of Parker's vacations around the world. And this year then I noticed Doreen's starting to do that with her rabbit. And I think it's great that rabbit goes everywhere. And, yeah, so I think it's fantastic. But each of those artists I admire for different reasons. But that's just 3 of the ones that I admire. So
very good. Very good. So what direction do you see your work going in the future?
Wherever it goes. One of the things that I find freeing about polymer is that it allows me to explore, it allows me to change, it allows me to grow. It will go wherever I want it to. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, whatever I choose to do with polymer, whatever I choose to sculpt, that's what it will be. I would like to think that I am an artist that continues to grow, not one who grows stagnant at. So if I make something that's a complete flop, well, I'll try again.
Okay.
So.
And so tell us, what's next for you?
I don't know. I'm going to continue to make my characters, to continue to create, to continue to love polymer. It truly is a passion of mine. I want to grow. I want people to feel confident to express who they are through their art. Through our collaboration, we use the same things, and we found how different we are.
Yeah.
Yet
The same.
the
At the same time.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
So hopefully, by my goal with Cater's Acres is just to not only share the love of polymer, but encourage people to try and to do what makes their heart sing. Just because you make a cute little character doesn't mean that you're any less of an artist than someone who makes a huge big wall mural. It means you're a different artist. Each of your things are an expression of your own personality. And
Very good.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks,
It's been wonderful. We've had so much fun. She's been here
Yeah.
for 2 days. This
Yeah.
is our third day together.
Yeah.
I swear, we just talk.
I
and
know.
laugh and laugh
I'm
and
sad
laugh,
that I
and
have to
it's-
leave.
I know.
Go back to the real world.
But I'm glad that you could spend some time with us. And
Yeah,
and,
thanks, Ginger. Come and see me in Northwest
I
Pennsylvania.
will.
Okay?
And speaking of which, come and see Katie at catersacres.com, and we'll put that in the down bar. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Ginger from, where the hell am I from? Cater's Acres.
Could be a long day.